Peace, family. This is your brother King Cam, and welcome to another episode of the Campaign TV Show podcast, where we have real discussions with real people. Family, man, I got a special guest in the building with us tonight, family. As you come on in, shout out to the Facebook family, shout out to my YouTube team. Man, we growing over there on YouTube, but as you come in, I need you to like, I need you to share. If you joining us from Facebook, YouTube, I need you to smash that like button. I need you to subscribe and I need you to hit that bell so you can stay notified each and every time we drop a video. But you know how we start each and every show off. We're going to go ahead and drop that intro video, family. Then we're going to get right into tonight's show.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I'm chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like I ain't.
Yeah. Y'all know that record, man. That subliminal record. Shout out to Golden Child, man. That joint right there is powerful, and it always sets the mood for any topic or discussion that we're gonna have here on the Campaign TV show, man. But tonight I got with me a powerful guest, family. So all the small business owners, all the entrepreneurs, whether you're just getting started, you just started last year, you've been in the game for a minute, you want to make sure that you're tuned in right now, because I got a powerful brother who's going to help us talk about the road to success and give us some game straight out of his own personal library, because this brother has been and it still is successful. So I'm talking about a brother who is the founder and CEO of My Right Money Management. You understand me? Is a 4-time best-selling author. So this ain't no brother that just wrote one book. You know what I'm saying? Or a brother that wrote 2 books. He's a 4-time best-selling author, financial expert and motivator, and host of 2 media outlets, Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show in the planet, in the Ash Cash Show podcast, a daily business and finance news show which airs live at I Am Ash Cash from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. daily. And I'm going to tell you right now, this brother is consistent, because when I get up in the morning at 8 a.m., this brother is live. So you're not going to miss no shows from him. He's right on time each and every time. Y'all give it up for my brother, Ash Cash.
Peace and blessings, family.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me, man. Peace and blessings to the family, man. And, thank you for the platform. Thank you for having me talk to the people.
Man, brother, this right here is an honor, man. You're a friend of the show. You've been on this show before, man, and we had so many conversations offline as well. I've been able to get so much game just from watching how you do things via social media, listening to your commentary and things like that, brother. So I appreciate you for coming on the show. But the title for this conversation is The Road to Wealth, right? The Road to Wealth, family. And as you come on in, I want y'all to really understand what we're talking about. We're talking about being able to generate that blueprint that will help us get to wealth. Now, you're a financial advisor, financial educator, financial expert. Can you talk about a little bit about your background and how you was able to shift from corporate America finance to being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I started my career at 19 years old, working at a bank. I started out as a teller. My grades weren't good in school, so I couldn't, go to a college. I went to a community college, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna spend my time working, and so I got a job working as a teller. Did everything in banking, from teller to personal banker, to private banker, to branch manager, to CEO of a credit union. I was a VP at one of the largest financial institutions in the world at 24
mm,
years old. Became a CEO of a credit union at 31 years old, and really just took it as far as I could in the corporate realm. But in the words of the Honorable Sean Carter, Jay-Z, there's much bigger issues in the world I know, but I first had to take care of the world I know. And for
mm,
me, you know what I'm saying? For me, growing up, I grew up in the projects in New York, what I mean? New York City, single parent home. I'm the youngest of three. Dad wasn't around. And so understanding the hood, understanding, what my people, need. I was realizing that all of this wealth that I had, I was doing what Brother Malcolm called, a brain draining. I was draining. I came from the hood,
mm,
got all these smarts, and then went to Westchester County. I went to other places and was managing money for people who didn't look like me.
mm,
And so, one day I said, man, I can't. I understand both languages. I know what it's like to be in a C-suite and to talk to executives, but I also know how to talk to the gangster. I also know how to talk to the person just coming home. I know how to talk to the trap boy in the corner. And I said, what if I merged the two? What if I decided to take everything that I learned from corporate America and brought it back home to my brothers and sisters? Would that have a greater impact on the world more than just having a greater impact on my pocket? And I just
mm.
decided to take that leap. And it was a great decision. It's one of those things where I was able to do good, but then make income and impact. And so I transitioned into entrepreneurship and just been really on the forefront of helping our people become financially educated to build wealth for them, their family, and generations to come.
Man, brother, man. That was very, very interesting, man. And one of the common a lot of the things what I see is helpful, and I know from my own personal experience, is having the ability to operate in both worlds, right? Having that ability to speak both languages. Can you talk about, how that has actually helped you in entrepreneurship, having a foot in both worlds, knowing how to speak the language? How has that been able to help you make that impact, that connection with those people who watch you?
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's the best thing that could ever happen to anybody, right? Anybody who, understands different languages, right? So it doesn't, if you speak English and you can speak Spanish and you can speak French and you can speak Portuguese and Mandarin, if you have these different languages in your arsenal, it makes you versatile. It makes you more valuable, and it allows you to travel internationally and make sure that your message is heard. And so for me, with the work that I was doing, what the work that I do, it's been super beneficial because from number one, it allows me to understand business at a higher level, right? So it allows me to understand business at a high level. It allows me to make sure that I'm profitable. I'm reaching the right people. I know about strategic partnerships. I know how to have these conversations with other corporations, with brands and businesses, and know from a business perspective how to be of value, how to bring things to the table. But then it also allows me to have a direct connection with my consumer, right? And so because I understand my consumer, I know what my consumer wants. I know what they need. I'm able to have that direct connection with them and not, alienate them and not separate them, right? Because they always say put the medicine in the candy. And so a lot of times especially when you talk about finance, right? When you talk about
Yeah.
finance, it's a scary topic for a lot of people. It could become overwhelming. It could become a lot. And so if you don't know your audience and break it down in a way that's not going to make them feel intimidated, that's going to allow them to understand how easy it is and how to properly manage their money, then you defeat the purpose. And so it's been a blessing, because not only am I able to have I could take these. So if something's happening in the news, it might be a complex something that we can't necessarily, because we don't have the experience or because we haven't we haven't been in that world. We may not necessarily understand it the way CNN says it. Might not understand it the way Entrepreneur Magazine says it. But I could take it and say it in our language so that we can all benefit from it, And so it's been super beneficial, because even now, when you think about the movements that happen, and the Earn Your Leisures out there, a Wall Street Trapper, Ian
Right.
Dunlap. You think about you know what I'm saying, my brother 19 Keys. Like we're all taking these high level conversations about the metaverse and NFTs and stock markets and entrepreneurship, and really taking it and bringing it to the people, to the masses. And then now we're looking at people who would normally be in gangs, and people who would be on a corner trapping. Now they're opening up businesses. Now they're understanding how to do a Toro business, Airbnb. They're writing books. They're creating multiple streams of income. They're investing in stock. And so it's been so beneficial to be able to speak that language. And just from a business perspective too,
Mm-hmm.
for all my entrepreneurs out there, understanding your audience and filling that void is also important, right? When I started in this business, there was nobody talking to the inner city about finances, right? The three we had what's the white dude name? Dave Ramsey. We had Dave Ramsey, we had Susie Orbit, and we had Robert Kiyosaki. There was really nobody talking to us. And so in 2009, when I came out with my first book, Mind Right, Money Right, 10 Laws of Financial Freedom, it was one of the first times that I know of that we mixed the culture, right?
Right.
I had 50 Cent in there. You know what I mean? I mixed the culture, in financial literacy. And so it was just a blessing to be able to do that, and to kind of usher a wave of financial educators that don't have to wear suits.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, bro, that's powerful, because when you talk about financial literacy, you talk about what's going on today with the metaverse, NFTs, cryptocurrency, all of the different shifts that's happening, and you see a lot of people like yourself, 19 Keys, and so many different educators coming in, breaking down those complex, talking points, those complex events that are happening in finance, making it simple for those of us who are just getting into the game, bro. How much of an impact have you seen with that financial literacy now coming into the inner city? Speaking of back in 2009, when you first wrote your first book, from then until now, how much impact have you seen it make?
Man, all praises to the Most High God. It's been an enormous impact. When you think there are, collectively, as a collective, we've touched millions upon millions of lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a show called Inside the Vault on the Earn Your Leisure Network, and we're only 53 episodes in, and we're close. Right, we're just about to cross the 2 million mark, right? So two
Wow, look at
million,
that, family.
right? 2 million,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just a year, right? Our first episode, came out in February 1st. Candy Burris in 2021, our first episode, and so 53 episodes later, 2 million views. And collectively, it's millions, right? Millions of lives have been impacted. And so we're the meek shall inherit the earth.
Right.
And I feel like it's that time now. I think it's that time, where what all of our ancestors have done, what they implanted in us, and all of that is starting to bear fruit. And the great thing about this movement, brother Cam, is that it can't be stopped, right?
Right.
Think about our predecessors. Think about when Brother Malcolm was around. Think about when Martin Luther King was around. You know, Once they killed one of the movements. You think about the Black Panther, right? You had a leader of a movement, but once that leader was Marcus Garvey was arrested or killed or taken out. it kind of slowed down the movement, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of,
Right, right.
pushed us back. But now, oh my God, there's so many of us, right? And we're not competing, we're collaborating, and we're helping each other, and we're supporting each other. And it's so, you know what I mean, brother Ben X, you know what I'm saying, Jake Tyler, like my brother Julian Gordon, Storm Leroy. Like, there's a lot of us out here where you can't kill the movement, and so the compare. I can't even really even compare between what it was, in 2009 to now. That's why I said, God is God is the best of planners, right? Like,
Yes, sir.
who would have ever thought, that 12 years later, millions upon millions of lives are going to be impacted. And when I say impacted, I'm not even just saying views. I'm talking about, you know, there's so many millionaires that have been made within the last 2 years off of the information that we provide, right? And so it's
Right.
not even just information; it's tangible. Like, people, like hundreds of thousands and millions of people are actually changing their lives for the better. And so when we hear, these statistics that say black wealth is going to be at zero at 2053, I'm saying, well, what data are they looking at? Where they getting
Yeah.
this information from? Because the
Come
people
on.
I'm around, I'm seeing this in real time, and the people lives that are being effective, I see them focusing on their assets, not their liabilities. And so it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to be a part of. And it's a beautiful thing to continue to, help pour into, to grow.
Man, what a time to be alive, family. If you just joining us here at the Campaign TV Show podcast, I'm your host, brother King Cam, and I'm here with my good brother Ash Cash, man, and we're discussing the road to wealth and really the financial transfer that you're seeing happen within these last few years, man. The introduction to new information, the introduction to new teachers speaking on financial literacy, talking about business, getting into the science of business, growth, scale, how to brand your business on social media. We got so many different things, so many tools at our disposal for us to be successful. We really have no excuse, man. And one thing that, Ash, that you talked about was the impact that's being made with these different platforms, right? You have actually two shows. You have a
Mhm.
show that you do in the morning, then you have Inside the Vault with Ash Cass that's on your Earn Your Leisure network. So shout out to the Earn Your Leisure family and what they're doing over there, because they're providing a platform to allow Black educators like yourself, 19 Keys, those who traditionally didn't have a opportunity or even wanted to teach inside of these educational institutions that we have today, but now have an opportunity to teach unfiltered, unbothered, and teach not only from a theoretical standpoint but from an experience standpoint, which is very necessary for the culture moving forward. So we're talking about the road to wealth, and you're a 4-time best-selling author, my brother. Could you talk about how people are able to utilize their intellectual property and put it in the books? Because our people, especially our people, have been through so much. And, regardless of what it is, you could take your experience, and put it into a book and be able to monetize it. So could you talk about that process and how many people you've been able to help pull the story out of their mind and get it in the book form for them?
Yeah, I think books are one of the most underrated assets that exists. When you think about all of the the knowledge that is passed down through books, right? You think about the Holy Quran, you think about the
Come on
Bible,
now.
right? These are
Right.
all books, and it leaves a legacy. It gives instructions. It allows leaders to live on. And so for me, I was introduced to books, wanting to teach my people, and realizing that there were but so many community centers and churches and places that I could go to teach financial literacy. What if I could duplicate myself? What if I could take all of my information and put it in a book?
Good point.
One of the
Good
best
point.
things about books, though, is that you don't have to be anybody else, right? The great thing about what makes Ash Cash book successful is because it is an Ash Cash book. I'm not competing against anybody. I'm not trying to write like anybody. I'm not trying to give information that I haven't experienced or lived or witnessed. This is all information that it's from my experience, and I'm not for everybody, and everybody um, may not appreciate my books. But the people who do buy my books, right? You can go to Amazon right now and look at the reviews. You can see that I have an audience, and I'm connected to my audience. And so, when I realized how important books are to your brand, books can help you, literally create the authority that you need to be an expert, right? When you look at the
Right.
root word of authority, it is author, right? And
Yes,
so the
sir.
authority is the author. The authority is the person who writes the book. And so I created programs. First I was able to do it myself. I've written 11 books. Like you mentioned, 4 of them have been bestsellers. I've created multiple streams of income from my books. And I've also, helped others. I have a client, shout out to my brother Julian Gordon, who we worked on his book together. He sold over 10,000 copies in less than
Wow.
10 months. He made over $200,000 off of that book. Because when you think about, and here's the thing: what people don't realize that people want to experience you and your knowledge, and a book is just the entryway. The book is just the beginning. The book is just a way to say, hey, I'm starting out. Let me whet your appetite, right? So I give you this quick analogy. When you go to a sandwich shop, and you go to a mall, and a sandwich shop has a new sandwich that they want to serve to people. They imagine them going to everybody and saying, hey, we have this new sandwich here, buy this sandwich here, buy this sandwich here, buy this sandwich. People are going to look like, nah, I'm good. It's a new sandwich, I don't want the sandwich. But so what does the store does? The store takes the sandwich, it cuts the sandwich up into little pieces, and they put toothpicks all on the different sandwiches, right? And so now when people are walking through, they're giving you the toothpick. They're saying, here, take this, here, take this. And
Mm.
people are more inclined to take a sample of it opposed to buying the sandwich. So
Right.
now they take the sample of it, and if they really, really like the sandwich, they're now going to stand in line to buy the whole sandwich, right? And so that's how we should be looking at books. It doesn't matter what business you're in. If you have a product or service that you provide, it is imperative that you have a book, because a book serves as that sample, right? That book is a minimal viable product. It is something that people can buy and experience you at the cheapest level, right? At the most, and I don't even like to use the word cheap, right? I'm going to say at the most economical level, right? It's the entry point. But what happens if you cut the sandwich up into little pieces, and you giving people sandwiches or pieces of the sandwiches samples, and then you don't have the full sandwich, right? Now you just
Mm.
whet their appetite, and now they're looking for more. They want more because you gave them a little bit, but now they can't buy the whole sandwich. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna go to other sandwich shops, right? You're the one that introduced them to the sandwich. They're gonna go to other sandwich shops, and they're gonna be asking, "Hey, do you have this? Hey, can you put this? Can you put it the way they did it?" Right? When if you just had the whole sandwich, they would buy for you.
It was bad for
And so
you.
a lot
Yeah.
of people do that, right? A lot of people, write books, but they don't have other products and services. They don't have, the high level masterminds. They don't have the digital real estate, like my brother Ben X would say. They don't have
Right.
the courses and the programs and the masterminds and the speaking engagements. They haven't set themselves up. And so now when they're giving people, samples of what they got, nobody's able to experience them on a higher level. And so
Mm.
that's what my program has done. My program has really shifted the mindset of people, so that they can realize that, first and foremost, what you need to do is make sure that you have, all of the ingredients necessary to build out your bigger sandwich. And then after you do that, you use, social media, you use all of these different other places, this content that you put out as your testers, so people could have a taste of you. And then you lead them up, right? You take them the road to wealth, right? You lead them up on this road where they buy the book. Once they buy the book, they buy the audio, they buy the ebooks, they buy the self-study programs, they buy the mastermind, they buy, they go, the coaching program, the certificate programs, like all of the different things. You kind of lead them on this road that allows them to invest more money to experience your your methodology. And
Mm.
then once they experience your methodology, you give them value with what you know and what you provide. And then now it becomes this cycle because they're going to spread the word. They're going to tell other people about it, and then now you have a well-oiled machine of merrily eating off of streams.
That was fire right there, family. That was fire. For those who are just joining us here at the Campaign TV Show podcast, I'm your host, Brother King Cam. I'm here with my brother Ash Cash, and he just talked to us about, the power in becoming an author, the power of being able to take that book, being able to slice that thing into a couple of different pieces, and then start to provide samples to your audience. So you talk about writing the book, you got the hard physical copy, you got the digital download, you got the audio book. Now you create masterminds, high level masterminds, seminars. You go on a book tour, all these different things. And my question is for someone, because like you said, you might not have the digital real estate a brother Ben have, or Ash Cash, or Earn Your Leisure, right? You might not have the speaking engagements and all of those different things. So if I'm starting from ground zero and I have experience in a particular field and I have the ability, to formulate a book on a particular subject, right? But now I want to get it, so I want to get it out so more people can experience my methodology. How do I go about doing that?
Yeah, so I think number one, it's always important to start with the end in mind, right? And so it means that before you even write the book, really start with the end. What value are you bringing to the community, right? Like when someone picks up your book and they read your book, what do you want them to get out of it? What is the end result? How is this book going to make them better, right? And so I have a book called What the FICO 12 Steps to Repairing Your Credit. And what I did was I started with the end in mind. I said, if I want people to learn how to fix their credit, what are the steps that's going to take them to get there? So start with the end in mind, number one. Now, once you start with the end in mind, I want you to do some research, right? I want you to do some research. I want you to find, who is out there talking about your subject, right? Is there anybody else that's talking about your subject that's really already doing it? Maybe they're not talking to your audience, but they're talking about your subject. I want you to start researching that person, right? I need you to start researching that person. I need you to start seeing, what is that person doing good? What is that person doing that you can add your flavor to, right? When I think about me starting out as a financial educator, I studied Dave Ramsey, I studied Susie Orman, I watched what they did, and I said, oh, this is how they talk to their audience. So I'm going to talk to my audience in the way that I talk to my audience, right? And so, I want you to do the research and study your target audience. And then number three, I need you to find, right? I need you to find, right? First, you're going to start with the end in mind. Then you're going to do the research. Then I need you to find outlets, influencers, blogs, websites of where your audience is already, right? And so if I'm, if I'm gonna do, something related to hair, if I start a business related to hair, then why wouldn't I, tap in with influencers that have hair care lines and that focus on hair? If I'm, if I want to reach people at a certain age demographic, why not go to a media outlet that focuses on that age demographic, right? And so find a place where your audience is. And then lastly, number four, I would say to buy or borrow traffic, right? And what does that mean?
Okay.
That means that you need to once you know where your audience is, you can borrow traffic by saying to by bringing value to other people, right? And so even right now, there are people who are watching this show right now, Brother Cam, who never heard of Ash Cash, right? And so now, if somebody is listening to your show and I'm resonating with them, I'm connecting with them, I just borrowed your traffic, right? And borrowing traffic doesn't mean they leave you to come to me. It means that they're still your audience, but they're gonna say, "Oh, I like what Brother Ash Cash was saying. Let me check him out." And so now they're gonna check, they're gonna check me out. Like I said, I have a podcast that's been seen over 2 million times, right? And so what happens when I bring on, like, I have guests that I bring on that people have never heard of. But after we interview with them, their numbers go off the chain, and people are familiar with them because they borrowed my traffic. They borrowed the insiders, like we call our the people who watch our
Right.
show. They borrowed, our insiders, because we introduced them to them. So that's borrowing the traffic. And so you could borrow traffic by, going on podcasts. You could borrow traffic by doing lives, right? When you do a live with somebody on Instagram, automatically is going to alert all of your, followers and supporters that you're on live. But then even the other person's supporters are now going to know about you, right? And so when you go live, you're borrowing traffic. When a media outlets let you, talk on their television or radio, that's borrowing traffic, right? And so anytime you have the opportunity to be in front of an audience that's, somebody invites you to do a speaking engagement, right? And you're speaking in front of their audience, that's also borrowing traffic, right? And so that's one piece of it. So the more you do that, the more people experience you. And as they experience you, you either directly give a call to action to buy your book or your product or service, or you get them in your cycle by giving them something away for free so they can experience you at a deeper level, right? Then you have the buying of traffic, right? That's your Facebook ads, your YouTube ads, your Instagram ads. That's your social media shout outs, right? Paying. That's hiring a publicist and getting them to get you on platforms. And one thing, especially in our communities, we frown upon investing in ourselves, in our business, and we're like, oh, I'm not paying for that. I want to only grow organic. Organic is awesome. I love organic, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to scale, you have to get to that space where you are willing to invest. I'm not telling you to spend money, right? Because when you spend money, you're ending money, right? We're supposed to circulate money. And so I am telling you to invest in yourself. If you believe in your product, if you believe in your service, then why not? And if you believe that your product or service can help save someone's life and help them like you claim it helps them, then why wouldn't you want it to reach as much people as possible? Why wouldn't you want, right? If somebody came right now and said, I had the cure for COVID, then why wouldn't they want to make sure that they're spreading that to as many people as possible so people could get the cure? And so, you have the borrowing traffic, but then you also have the buying the traffic, which I think that together, if you add the two, so I do both. I buy traffic, I borrow traffic, we mix them together, and that's how I continue to have a significant impact in the culture, even over a decade later.
That was some game, family. That was some heavy game. Because a lot of people, when they start out, they really don't know the path and the direction that they need to take. And for me, one of the things that Ash said that was very powerful was investing in yourself. Because when I got started by investing in Brother Benek's course. Before it was digital real estate. It had a couple of names before it was digital real estate, but investing in somebody who knew how to grow a platform and a brand on social media. And when I invested that money into that course, that knowledge that I learned from that would allow me to be able to create and build platforms, not on just one particular social media outlet, but on various social media outlets that would allow me to do what? Spread my message, to be able to cut up my knowledge and give people samples of what I was trying to teach them on these different platforms, and be able to build a community or build a following, so that then when you have a product or service, then you're able to talk to your following about that, being able to offer them your services, your products, things of that nature. So investing in yourself is extremely important, because you have people who will start something. And the crazy thing about it is we kind of go about business like all wrong. Like I asked somebody that I'm really close to, and he told me that his fiance, she had just wrote a book, but she wrote the book, and the whole process of her writing the book was not documented, right? So that wasn't anything that you could put out, to your audience, right? So that was the first mistake right there. Then it's like, okay, now we got the book, but now we want to sell it outside of just the family and friend sales that you get when you first drop your book or your product or your service, and people that you know, they support you, but they might not necessarily be your target audience. So you got through that part. So it's now it's like, okay, what's the next step? Well, the next step is you got to do all of the things that Ash just told you about. You got to start getting into these media outlets. You have to start reaching out to influencers. You have to start, generating a buzz for yourself. So my other question, as it pertains to being the author, is it best to start with a book, like a book based on the knowledge base that you have, or what if you're an aspiring author and you kind of write and you write stories like like your like your fictional tales or something like that? Is the blueprint the same if you were doing something like the 12 steps to credit repair versus a fictional novel? Is the process the same?
Yeah, so the process is definitely the same as it relates to whether it's nonfiction, whether it's a children's book, whether it's fiction, whatever it is, the process is the same, right? Right, starting with the end in mind, making sure that you have your story together, researching other people in your genre, figuring out, who, how other authors who are successful that write the same thing you write, how they've done it, researching and finding your audience. Where is your audience currently right now? And then buying and borrowing traffic, right? So your audience, whether it's nonfiction, whether it's fiction, whether it's children's books, they listen to podcasts, they watch television shows, they're on social media. And so how do you get that message to them? By seeing where they are and buying or borrowing traffic. So the process is definitely the same. One of the things that makes it easier for a nonfiction author, though, when they do the how-tos, is
Mm-hmm.
because when you're a nonfiction author and you're doing a how-to, you're solving a problem, just like a business, right?
Mm.
And so it's easier to penetrate your audience because all you have to do is show them that you have the answer to the
Answer to the
pain,
problem. Yeah.
to the problem, right? When you're writing poetry or when you're writing a fictional book or a children's book, the urgency for those types of books are not necessarily there, right? And so if somebody was walking down the street and they stepped on a toenail or they stepped on a nail, and somebody ran up to them and said, "Hey, yo, I could get that nail out your foot," and somebody else is telling them, giving them food or giving them something else, they're gonna focus on what that immediate need is. Like,
Right.
you know what? Even though I'm hungry, keep that food over there. I got this nail in my toe. Take that nail out, right? And so even though the blueprint is the same, it works better for nonfiction if you do a good job at addressing what the problem is, because people are always going to want to alleviate themselves from pain first and foremost.
Yeah, man, that's definitely a good point. Because I can definitely see where the the more of the demand would be on something that solves a problem versus books that you kind of read at your leisure time. That type of fictional type of stuff, and also too, especially when you're starting from a grassroots or a ground up position, right? You want to be able to have some momentum built up. So
Yeah.
when you being able to solve a problem, that allows you to build momentum, because people have a lot more problems that need solving versus having just leisure time to sit back and read fictional novels. When you're trying to write a fictional novel, it's kind of different, because it's like, okay, well, I don't really know who you are. You don't have a name for yourself. So, what I mean? So you got to fight through all of that type of stuff, and people will be a lot more open to you without having that cachet or that resume, because you're solving a problem, versus you just kind of telling these fictional stories and still don't have no cachet or no resume. So it's
And, and,
definitely
and,
go ahead.
and not to cut you off, brother, but it allows people to trust you more, right? Because the truth of the matter is that by nature, we'll always remember, um, the people that were there for us in our times of need, right?
Good point.
We
Good
want to
point.
be able to remember everything, right? So like, how many, like a woman, right? A man could be given all the flowers and saying all the nice things to all you want, but that stuff doesn't get remembered as much as, oh, this was my dark time and this person was there to support me. This person lift me up. This person got me out. Like, that person is going to be stuck with you forever, right? And so it's the same point. You could give somebody pleasure, right? I could, I could make you laugh, right?
Right.
If I watch, I love Chris Rock, I love, Dave Chappelle. They make me laugh, but I'll remember my imam. You know what I'm saying? More than I'll remember Dave Chappelle, because
Yes, sir.
when I was in that dark place and he lifted me up and he helped me, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Like get through
Yes, sir.
this place. And so think of that. That's just the way business is. That's just the way human nature is, right? Is that human nature is always going to remember those who supported them when they need them, right? When you think about the movement, this is why, our movement's so powerful, right? When someone says, yo, brother King Cam, yo, thank you, brother. You know what I'm saying? I was in a dark place. You helped me see the light with digital real estate. Now I can eat. Now I can feed my family. Now I can feed. They're going to remember that, right? And I have people lives that I've impacted that,
Mm.
I've met in person, and like they literally, like, I'm a big guy, right? I'm 6'3". You know what I'm saying? I'm a big guy. I
Yes,
got
sir.
people come up to me and hug me and be like, man, I appreciate everything you do because of that problem being solved. And so, starting from that perspective, specifically even from a book perspective, will always give you longevity. And the truth of the matter is that once someone knows, likes, and trusts you, now you got them hooked, right? Like my wife has written over 11 children's books, and off of the strength of people knowing, liking, and trusting me, her children's books were able to go, to sell massively, because that trust was already earned. Because we started out our brand by solving a problem first, and then introducing the feel good stuff later on.
Wow, man, that is such a gem and such a bar. For those people, man, who are really releasing books. I know two people. One person who written a fictional story, another person who is written a children's book. And man, it's this is definitely some good game for them. And my other question is, when it comes to, because I hear this a lot, you know, when it comes to authoring or writing your book, when it comes to the publishing piece, is that more of self-publish, or am I going to put it on different platforms such as like Amazon? Like, what's the best route to take? Now, I tell people this, you know, if you self-publish the book, then you put the work in, right? You got to put all the muscle in, but you reap a lot of all of the benefit from the muscle that you put in, because you self-publishing is based on your following, all the people that's in your network, how many sales you can get, boom, you can keep all of that bread. But if you go the route of putting it on Amazon or something like that, yeah, they had a platform and everything like that. All the books you sell, there's a percentage that they get for that. But if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. What is your recommendation as far as that's concerned, or is it like either or with you? It doesn't matter, just
Yeah,
long as you
yeah,
work it.
yeah. So my take is that abundance is your birthright, and so I believe and is better than or. And so I would tell
Mm,
anybody to do all of the above, right? To self-publish it, to put it on all platforms, right? I'll give you a prime example, because they say 100% of nothing is nothing, right? And so while it is true that Amazon and the other platforms take a big percentage of it, but you're missing out on so many opportunities if you're not on all platforms. And I remember I wrote a book called The Wake Up Call, based on Jay-Z's 444 album.
mm.
And the book went viral. Billboard, the Source Magazine, Rap Radar, all these major media outlets were talking about the book. But I had not recorded the audio version, so there was no audio version of it. Immediately, I was getting emails and calls from people who drive Ubers, people who are truck drivers, who drive Lyft, who like, brother, I want this knowledge, but I don't have the time to read, right? And so,
Yeah.
if they don't have the time to read, and my book is not on any Audible platform, then they're not gonna be able to get the information. And now I missed out on a sale that I wasn't gonna get anyway because I didn't have the book on there. And so I tell everybody, and is better than or. You should have it on all platforms. Have it on Audible, have it on Amazon, have it in all independent bookstores, have it in Barnes and Nobles, but also have it in your store. And so I never send anybody to Amazon, right? And so if you say Ash Cash, I want to buy your book, where can I go? I'm saying go to ashcashbooks.com, right? Because I own Ash Cash Books. I'm able to I'm able to send those books out. Like you see a bunch of books in the back of me. I ship out my own books. I'm able to capture, more of the profit by doing it that way. But what happens when Brother King Cam buys an Ash Cash book, right? Because he heard me say go to ashcashbooks.com, and now Brother Kim Cam buys a book, and then he's on the subway one day and he's reading the book, What the FICO, right? A person across from him says, "Oh, that looks like an interesting book. Let me Google it. Let me go to Amazon to see if that book is available." Now they go to Amazon and the book is not available, right? Now you lose out on a sale that you would have gotten at least a percentage of, because that's not your audience. Now you're losing out on word of mouth. Now you're losing out on all of the other people that would have supported you from the word of mouth. King Cam is not going to tell people to go to ashcashbooks.com. Kim Cam is going to be like, yo, this is a good book. Look it up, right? Or they may post it. People do that to me all the time. People are always posting my books all the time. They saying, yo, Hustlenomics was a great book. But guess what? People ain't going to go to hustlenomics.com to get that book. They're going to look it up. They're going to put it in. And if it's not available, they're not going to support you. But here's the other reason why you want it on all platforms, is because what we don't realize, it's easy to get on television. It's easy to get on radio, right? Producers are always looking for new guests. They're always looking for a fresh voice to talk on a specific topic. But guess what? If a producer heard about your book and a producer is wanting you to get on the Good Morning America or the Today Show, they're not gonna focus on a self-published author. They're gonna want to make sure that you're valid, right? That you have that you're official. And what other way to show that you're official by being in bookstores, by being on the Amazons and the Barnes and Nobles and the Walmarts and the Targets and things of that nature. And so I would tell any self-published author, if you're self-published and you want your book to reach the maximum amount of people as possible, yes, you should have it on your personal website. And anybody who's your fan, anybody who follows you, anybody who you're telling to go get your book, only tell them to go to your website, right? But also have them on these other platforms so that if people who don't know you directly are looking for you, they can find you. I'll give you one more prime example, right? Rick Ross came out with a book, a memoir, and his memoir was a New York Times bestseller. The moment that his book came out, my book on Nipsey Hussle also increased. Why? Because Amazon does a great job of saying people who buy this book also buys this other book, right? And so imagine if I didn't have Hustlenomics on Amazon, if I only had it on my website, then all of that traffic, I got free traffic from Rick Ross. All of the people that went to go buy Rick Ross's book also saw, oh, Hustlenomics, I didn't see this book. And then now they buy Rick Ross's book and Hustlenomics, and now we rise together. And this is a sale that I wouldn't have gotten had my book not been on there. So there's so many benefits by being on these platforms that we kind of sometimes we look at it like, man, they take a big percentage. Yeah, they take a big percentage if that's the only place people can find your book. But if you spread it out and you have it in different places, it'll be super duper beneficial.
Man, bro, you just gave me some game. Look, I think I might have I done messed up. Like, man, you done messed up, right? You done messed up, right? So I'm thinking about when I dropped my book, bro. I was like, dang, I ain't putting on Amazon. I ain't do
Yes,
the
sir.
audio books. So I'm like, I missed out on all of this bread. So look,
Yes,
family,
sir.
this is the good thing about, man, having such a powerful guest on your show, man. You can do some retrospect and think, you going through these different things, and it's like, dang, bro, I need to do this for my book. I need to do this. Next book I drop, I'm doing this. So I'm jotting down all of this, family. So I hope y'all getting as much information and gems that I'm receiving on my own entrepreneurship journey, family. Man, because it's a learning process. And that's the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship. And one thing I want to say is that all successful entrepreneurs, and Ash Cash could talk to this as well, is that it's not about the accomplishments, right? What makes entrepreneurs great is because they are always looking to improve themselves, and also it's the process, right? The process of taking nothing and turning it into something. So enjoying that process. I've heard Diddy talk about it. I've heard Gary Vaynerchuk talk about it. I've heard other entrepreneurs, big entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, all of them talk about that process of taking nothing and being able to turn it to something. That process of having to pivot, having to put this together, and having to, evolve, and having to be able to adapt to different environments and different things like that. It's all about the process and the journey, not about the monetary rewards. Obviously, people, you reap what it is that you sow, right? So the more sowing you doing, the more seeds that you dropping, the better you are at your farming, at your agriculture when it comes to your entrepreneurship. Then the better sow that, I mean, the better reaping that you're gonna have, right? The more reaping of the harvest that you're gonna have. So that's a giving, but it's the process that allows you to stay in it as long as people stay in it, because it's not about that end result, but it's about that whole process, that journey, that makes it so fulfilling. So shout out to Nova Scotia, Canada, Halifax in the building. Shout out to Philly as well in the building, Atlanta, Georgia, tapping in. And the other thing that I want to say too, family, is don't stop doing the work and impacting people, because what Brother Ash said was extremely important, because I've seen it happen on several different occasions. I've seen it happen with myself. I've seen it happen with Brother Ash Cash. I've seen it happen with so many different people where you don't know who you're impacting by the information, by your platform, whatever it is that you're teaching. Doesn't matter how many people are showing up, how many live people you have, how many views you getting. You don't know how many people you're impacting and you're touching by just sharing your story and talking about your experience. So I always like to tell people, don't stop doing the work, because it takes a whole lot for you to just get started. And a lot of people struggle with just that particular area, just getting started. And once you get started, stay consistent and don't stop, because if the numbers are not there right now, don't worry about that. Focus on the impact. Focus on the impact. And if you continue to focus on the impact, then the numbers will grow. So that's something else that I wanted to hit on as well, because that's very important for people who are starting in entrepreneurship. Now, I took a class about 2 weeks ago, Ash, and it was put on by David Shands, the Social Proof, talking about growing your podcast, right? And man, I already have a podcast. I had it for a few years, and I wanted to get in because I said I'm gonna reestablish the business aspect of the podcast and really start to utilize the different tools that I have in my disposal when it comes to the podcast. So I wanted to check in with what David had going, because I said I know it's something new that I could learn. And man, I learned so much being a part of that forum and being in there. And David did just a good job of delivering the gems and the information. And that leads me to Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. You know, man, shout out to EYL and the network for what they doing, because when I see, especially like when they did the video drop with 19 keys, right? It reminded me of almost like Bad Boy in the 90s when they had like Diddy. I mean, when they had, well, you know, they had Biggie and Lil Kim and Junior Mafia, and then, you know, they had Mace, and you know what I'm saying. So I'm like, oh, then you got Death Row with Snoop and Pac. So it's like, so it's giving me like financial record deal type of vibe,
Yeah.
right? And I already know you was with them, so I'm like, yo, they got Ash Cash, now they got 19 Keys. So it's giving me that type of vibe, and it's like, yo, you know, could you talk about the impact that Inside the Vault has had? You mentioned it earlier, you hit on it earlier about the 2 million views and, you know, the guests that you have coming on, man. But can you talk about how much that impact, you know what I'm saying, that show has? Because I watch, man, I check in, you know, all the time, man. It's one of my favorite shows to watch, man, and how important,
Thank you.
you know, that show is, bro.
Yeah, man. Man, it's a blessing, Inside the Vault has really helped change mindsets, right? It's really helped change the way people think about money. It allows them to understand that they are just like everybody else, and that's what we intend to do. We call it the greatest money mindset show on the planet, because not only do we show you we crack the codes, right? We crack the code for the insiders who have learned the game and they're teaching you the game. But we also teach you, how to get to their level of success. We also say, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not special, right? When we talk to Alex Good Energy, the leading black trucking entrepreneur, in the country, and he kind of breaks down his experience and where he came from and how he started. It's really a special thing. When we talk to my brothers from EYL, when we talk to Candy Burris and David Banner, and my brother Derek Grace, 19 Keys, Wall Street Trapper, and even some of the people Jessica Byers, who is one of the youngest black female hotel owners. My brother Storm
Wow.
Leroy, who became a millionaire while still working a 9 to 5.
I saw that episode.
That was powerful, right? And so there's so much power, and Pushman Mitch, Michelle
Yep.
Valbrun, like all of the people that we're pushing to the front. We're just really showing you the blueprint to success. We're showing you how they got their success and what tools that they've used. And so the impact of Inside the Vault is actually international, right? It's not just here in the U.S. There's other countries that are locked in and tuned in. There's other people who are hearing the stories of entrepreneurs and people who started with nothing and were able to become multi-millionaires and set up generational wealth for their family. And so as Jay Electronica said, man, all praises due to Allah for such an illustrious platform. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And one of the things that makes me make it even more special is just knowing that I was there at the inception, right? I remember having phone calls with Rashad about about EYL, about the podcast, about where him and Troy wanted to take it. I remember going to their house, going to Troy's house to record an interview of EYL. That's before the millions of views. If you ever check it, I'm episode number 26. You know what I'm saying? Go back to the archives, right? Episode
Yes,
number
sir.
26. I remember pulling up to Troy's dining room, with two iPhones, right? Yelling and really just giving a great interview. And so to now see how this platform has grown internationally, but then also, we young black men, right? Like, and we're showing the world that we are superstars, but we're not rapping. And no disrespect to rappers or ball players, but we're not rapping. We're not playing ball. You know what I'm saying? We are, intellectual men coming together. We're putting egos aside. You know what I'm saying? I easily could have been like, yo, I'm Ash Cash. I had a name before all of
Yeah.
this, and say, nah, I'm not
Yeah.
signing to these guys. But nah, you know what I'm saying? I want for my brother what I want for myself. And so, anything that I could do to add, right? Because a lot of times people say they for the people, but they really for themselves. They're not for the mission, right? They for the lights, they for the glitz and glory. And so if if they name don't come first, then they don't want it. You know what I'm saying? But for
Right.
me, it's been a blessing because I looked at what they were able to do in the podcast world. I looked at my value and what I contribute, to this space. And I said, man, wouldn't it be a powerful thing if we came together and we formed like Voltron? And so the impact has been awesome. Not only is the impact great when you think about it from a from a network perspective, but you think about what we do live, right? Invest Fest. We brought in over 4,000 people. Me rocking the stage, Ian Dunlap. You know what I'm saying? Wall Street, like everybody just coming together and really blessing that stage. So the movement is a powerful movement. The impact is strong, and it's just starting. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that a lot of times what people see is what could be announced. But believe that there's other things behind the scenes happening, other things that are working that's gonna continue to push this movement forward in the forefront in God's will.
Yes, sir. And one of the things that I remember, because I kind of, was there at the inception of like all of this. Like I remember watching Ash Cash on Instagram Live prior to the EYL, prior to Inside of the Vault, right? So then EYL starts coming up, and I start watching their different interviews and things like that. So man, to be able to see everything evolve from the beginning to where it's at now is a beautiful thing. And man, bro, to be honest with you, bro, this is like I see like Inside the Vault with Ash Cash being like the entrepreneurs breakfast club.
Mm,
The entrepreneurs breakfast club, because as you mentioned and roll off the different guests that come through that have been through Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, bro, that's just like how it is at the Breakfast Club. You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? So like when you come through the Breakfast Club, you know what I mean? Like that's a cultural stopping point, stomping ground. You know what I'm saying? So like when you want to solidify your stamp, I was thinking about this today. Anybody who has like solidified themselves in the culture has a Breakfast Club interview, at least one. You got somebody, you got some people that got multiples, right? But when you hit that next level, you got that Breakfast Club interview, right? Some of us we still working, we trying to get there. But now with your show Inside the Vault, bro, it's like now all of those people who have hit their stride hit Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. Whether it's a brother Ben X, whether it's Jake Taylor Jacobs, you know what I'm saying? 19 Keys, Derek Grace, like everybody hitting their stride. You know what I mean? And they done hit that Inside the Vault with Ash Cash platform, bro. So it's like when you want to go from 40,000 to 100,000, you got to go see Ash Cash. You know what I'm saying? To get your buzz up. You know what I mean? Then when you try to go from 100,000 to $1 million, you hit the Breakfast Club. You see what I'm saying? So it's like that type of vibe that I'm getting, bro, from that show, man. And it's just a powerful thing that's happening, because I remember, I think it was Rashad. They was on they was on, I can't remember what show I was watching. It's the podcast. Master P was on there. It's another good brother that was holding the podcast, but they talked about the evaluation of Clubhouse. They was talking about the evaluation of Clubhouse. And one of the things that they talked about was the fact that entrepreneurs are becoming the new rock stars. So no, you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to the ball players, football, basketball, you know what I'm saying? The rappers and all of that. But the entrepreneurs are becoming the new rock stars now, where you got entrepreneurs out here signing deals like rappers, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy to the point where like, entrepreneurs, educators, teachers, thought leaders now are in the same realm as the ball players and able to still be fly, still, you know what I'm saying? Represent the culture, right? Still be able to speak the language of the people and have intelligence. You don't have to be, you know what I'm saying, 100% street in order to be able to generate a buzz, make millions of dollars, drive a fly car, you know what I'm saying, go to all these different fly places and do all of that. Like, you brothers are living and walking and breathing examples of that via entrepreneurship. So this is really a cultural change, family. This is really a cultural change that you have going on. So, man, thank you all for for watching the Campaign TV Show podcast. I'm your host, Brother King Cam. I'm here with my brother Ash Cash. We appreciate those who have been here with us for the last hour, family. And we winding down. I don't want to hold my brother Ash too much longer, but we want to talk about those speaking engagements because you actually did a mastermind dealing with specifically being an author, how to make money off books, and how to be able to become a motivational speaker and get those speaking engagements, bro. So could you talk about a little bit about how people are able to do that? If I'm a person that's aspiring to become a motivational speaker, and I want to, talk to the youth or talk to people who may have been in prison or, women who are victims of domestic violence or whatever, how do I begin that journey?
Yeah, and I think it's one of the best things that's out there. Speaking, and getting paid to talk about your passion and what you help people with. And so I think the first step is really just making yourself a expert, right? I think that in order for people to be willing to pay you to hear you speak, they have to know that you're knowledgeable. They have to know that you have a certain level of expertise. And so that's why social media is so important. That's why I always tell people to write books, right? Write a book. Let people know your knowledge. Let people know how knowledgeable you are. But then also don't be afraid to post on social media, right? If I'm a financial expert, but I never give financial advice, then how are people going to know that they could come to me and book me to give financial advice? I gotta show clips. I gotta give advice. I gotta show clips of me giving advice. I gotta give people, again, back to the sandwich example. I gotta give people samples, right? How are you saying, I'm camera shy? I'm afraid to get on camera, but you want somebody to pay you to speak in front of their audience. You afraid to speak to nobody, right? You camera shy.
Right.
You afraid to talk to nobody, right? Just you and the camera. But you want an organization to pay you thousands of dollars to come speak in front of their crowd, and so you got to get on that camera, right? During COVID, I'll tell you one of the reasons why I had started the Ash Cash Show, the daily show, was because when they shut down the country, I was getting a good portion of my income through speaking engagements. So when they shut down the country and I wasn't able to speak anymore, I needed a platform to show people what I could do. And so what did I do? I started going live every single day. And then my opportunity started to come again because people who now they hear my advice, they see my passion, they know my voice. I was able to do some big, I did one speaking engagement with this big corporation. They paid me $10,000 for 45 minutes. Right. So
wow, look at that,
just
yo.
just like how you and I are talking, I was in front of a camera talking to their employees and got $10,000 for 45 minutes of talk, right? From the comfort of my own home, my own home, right?
Yes,
Have my flip-flops on and everything, And so, speaking, I think the easiest way, if anybody has expertise and wants to start speaking, I think the easiest way is just to continue to put relevant content, put content out for your buyer, right? Not for, so like if and this is a very important tip and trick I'm going to tell you. If you are a speaker and you want to speak to youth, make sure your content online is not speaking to youth, right? You're like, what? That don't make no sense. Ash, if I'm a youth speaker, why don't I just start talking to the youth? Because the youth ain't got no money, right? The youth ain't got no money. And so they're not going to be the ones that are going to cut you the check. And so if you want to start talking to schools, then guess who your target market should be? Your target market should be principals, right? It should be principals. It should be teachers. It should be superintendent. So all of your information now is targeting those people, because when they realize that you're talking to them, now they're the ones going to be like, hey, I need you to talk to my kids. You know what I'm saying? And so, I think it's important that we also always know, separate who is the consumer and who's the customer, right? What do you mean by that, Ash Cash? The consumer is the person that's going to consume your content. The customer is the person that's going to pay you for it. Sometimes they're the same people, right? Sometimes the consumer and the customer are the same people. But in certain cases, they're two different people. So you have to figure out, how do I talk to both and show my ability to connect with both in order to get to that bag? And so I think, it's really, becoming an expert in your field, really kind of making sure that your message is reaching your customer so that they can cut the check. And then also it's preparation, right? It's putting out the call to action. It's saying, hey, if you're looking to book a speaker, make sure you go to my website, right? You must have a website, right? You must
Right.
have professional headshots. You must have video of you speaking before, so you could give them a reel. You have to have a bio, right? You put all that up on a website. Now, when you start soliciting, you start saying, hey, if you know a school administrator, tag them below. If you know this person, that person, tag them below. And then once they get to your website, they see that you're ready, you're open, you're in the
Available.
receiving mode of that speaking engagement, and you'll be able to start getting engagements that way.
Man, that's powerful, bro. That's powerful, man, because being able to utilize these social media platforms and being able to get out your own way is so important when it comes to, allowing yourself to go through these doors that are there, open and ready and available for you to go through. So, but it's about you having that faith, the faith of a mustard seed that would allow you just to take one step forward and be able to walk through those doors. So that's something extremely powerful, man. We appreciate that, brother Ash, man. Man, this was such a powerful interview, family. This was such a powerful interview.
Appreciate you.
And you know, was really what I really like about this, because I've always been a hip hop fan, right? Hip hop and the culture, hip hop, R&B, what I'm saying, fashion, all of that type of stuff is always been of interest to me and what I've been really into. So what I really like about what I see now is black people, we make everything look so good, family.
Fact.
We make everything look good, man. We have these brothers who are fusing business with the culture, and it's not your old button up, corny corporate America type, because you have those. But now you got some brothers that are making business and making business deals look like, you know what I'm saying, making it look like, oh man, I could do that. Like I can really do that. So it's inspiring and it's motivating, especially when you talk about the youth, because as brother Ash said, if you're going to target the youth, then your content can't target the youth. So I felt that, because it's like, okay, the content targets me. The content targets me. And say if I have access to the youth, or somebody like me who's a school administrator or work on a college campus or work somewhere that have access to children, are going to be like, yo, that person right there articulated that, laid that out, was able to show me in a way that I can resonate with how to do business. This is very important. I want to show that to the youth because they can resonate with that. And the problem that we see today is that there's a disconnection between the leadership and the young people. There's a disconnection between the leadership and the young people. And it's because they can't resonate. The leadership don't speak the language of the youth. The leadership don't speak the language of those in the streets, those in gangs, those who are doing things who that are condemned by this leadership. So it's important that you got leaders rising up, people that's rising up, like Ash Cash, like 19 Keys, Earn Your Leisure. All of these different people, man. Even when it comes to the rappers now getting involved with Migos and Young Thug, people buying land, and and Lil Baby, people talking about business. Master P talking about business, which makes it interesting to the youth who may have been more attracted to trying to go pro in the NBA or trying to hit the NFL. And those things are beautiful. But if you get injured, or when that career is over with, because you only got a short span, Master P talked about this, you only got a short time, that's only short-lived. What you going to do after that when your career is over with? What you going to do after that when you're not playing ball no more? You still have to be able to eat. So he talked about products and branding. So this business wave is where it's at, family. It's longevity. You understand me? It's longevity, and it has the ability for you to be able to leave a mark on the world that you otherwise would not have been able to do. So we're talking about generational wealth, and today's conversation was called The Road to Wealth. So this was a beautiful, beautiful discussion, man, and I appreciate you, brother Ash, for coming on the show, man, giving us so much knowledge, so many gems. Family, man, y'all give my brother a round of applause for coming back on the
Appreciate you,
podcast.
brother. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. And man, just really showing so much love, man. He talked about, being an author, how you can make money writing books, how you can do that with speaking engagements, how you get your media up, how you get your face out there in these digital streets, man. Investing in yourself, financial literacy, man. It's so much information that this brother gave. You're gonna want to go back and watch the replay again, family, because it was that jam packed, man. So Ash Cash, what do you got coming up for the people, man? What do you got coming up in 2022 that we need to be on the lookout for?
Man, just building the community bigger and better. As far as inside the vault, we're working on a exclusive community for our insiders, where they could get to see behind the scenes access to some of the guests that we've had, a way for them to communicate with each other, a way for them to see episodes before they air, behind the scenes. So we're building a whole community called Insiders University. So stay on the lookout for that. And then just continue doing God's work.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that I love is that I am walking in my God purpose, and so it's really just allowing God to expand my territory, because I'm doing everything that I love to do. I'm doing it to the best of my ability. And so the next steps are just really the expansion of territory, in God's will. So whether that's television, whether that's, reaching more and more people through other outlets, it's just continue to do the work, and really reaching the people that, God has asked me to reach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Well, thank you for that, brother. And man, we'll be definitely on the lookout, man, for the new things that are coming down the pipe, man. Insiders University, family. Y'all make sure y'all tap in. If y'all have not watched Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, man, y'all slide over to YouTube right now. Tap in over there, man, and go back and just flip through the episodes. The way y'all binge watch Netflix, y'all watching you and y'all watching, all of the other stuff. That's cool. But get you some stuff where you can binge watch and learn something from. Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, you can learn something from each and every episode. He brings on different entrepreneurs from all different fields. So if you're gonna do boat rental, if you're gonna do car rental, if you're gonna do flipping wholesale real estate, if you're gonna do commercial real estate, if you're gonna be an author, if you're gonna do the stock market, if you're gonna do, man, he has it all. It's all there inside the Vault with Ash Cash. So make sure y'all check it out, family. We appreciate y'all, man, for tuning in tonight. And again, it's been a wonderful episode. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Facebook for showing up and showing out, hitting that comment section, man, letting us know where you was checking in from, man. Shout out to YouTube, man. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you get over there and subscribe. We over 800 subscribers now on YouTube, so we growing. So shout out to y'all. I got the email earlier this week. They got my little thing on there. So congratulations, 800 subscribers. So we on our way up on YouTube, family. So we certainly appreciate that, man. And make sure y'all meet us back here again next Tuesday for another dope episode of the Campaign TV Show podcast. And again, man, it's scrolling at the bottom. For those who would like to donate to the show, you can do that via Cash App at $Campaign TV Show. And you can also become a part of the community by texting the word podcast to 404-737-1030. Again, that number is 404-737-1030. And that's texting the word podcast. You become a part of the community. You get the direct texts, direct link to the show, exclusive interviews, information as we talk about upcoming guests that's coming on the show, all of that beautiful stuff. You get that when you become a part of the community, man. So shout out to North Carolina, not North Carolina, to New York City that was in the building as well. Man, we certainly appreciate y'all. And next time we'll see y'all next Tuesday, family, again for another episode. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
You know. Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. And then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made.